Hey you guys, it's attorney Shequel Ross here. As promised, letting you know I'm live on Facebook, also live on Instagram, basically answering any questions that relates to police traffic stops, the Fourth Amendment. I've coined out kind of like a niche area. I'm getting a lot of questions in private messenger, Facebook, Instagram in regards to how can police search? When can they search the car? What do they need to search a car? Why would they be searching my car? So basically, I want to, as promised, answer any questions that you may have. I got a lot of questions in regards to that. And one of my things that I specialize in is on-site police traffic stops. My number, it's also available 24 hours. It's 855-5-SHE-LAW. I have a team that stands by 24 hours a day in case you're pulled over, because the one thing I want to make sure that people understand is you're not alone out there on those streets. You're not. So you need to be able to count on an attorney who can pick up the phone at any point to be able to answer your questions when you get pulled over. Because what do police officers do? They use intimidation tactics. They use tactics in which you're on the side of the road, it's dark, and you're scared. You don't know what to say or what to do. So, not to brag or anything, but one of my main things, I'm a good negotiator. I'm a good mediator. I'm licensed in mediation. I will be available when you call me, and you should remember that number, 855-5-SHE-LAW, to answer any questions on site. Of course, pull over. Of course, make sure that after the police have put the sirens on, that you pull over. No high speed chases. I'm not going to be advising you while you're going 120 miles an hour. And also, don't reach for a phone once you've been pulled over, because that may cause a little scare to the officer. Everything that's going on in society right now, I thought it was very pivotal that we address this issue. So at any point, you guys can start sending questions in. I'll be able to answer any questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Fourth Amendment. A lot of you guys are asking me questions as it relates to the Fourth Amendment. So I want you guys to understand this. The Fourth Amendment protects things. It protects your houses. It protects certain things. If I have a purse, it protects unreasonable seizures and searches of my purse. If I have a car, it protects unreasonable seizures, searches of my car. It protects anything that is a thing. I don't want to go too far, but anything that relates to something that you have. And the Fourth Amendment gives you certain protections, constitutional protections. So let's say, for an example, you're driving down the street and the cops pull you over and say basically that you ran a traffic sign, which they they always say that. I've gotten pulled over myself in Arizona. Like, what? I ran a traffic light. There wasn't even a traffic light there. So the first thing that you always want to do is, once you pull over, be nice. Shock the officer. They're all, with everything that's hyped up in society right now, they're waiting for something. So pull over. Be nice. Hello, officer. I'm being sarcastic, but hello, officer. He's going to say, do you know why I stopped you? The one thing that I don't want you to have to say or have to admit to is why you think personally that they probably stopped you. It is possibly or could be an admission of guilt. So if they say, why did you stop me? Or if they ask you, why did you stop me? Say, no, officer, I don't. Why did you stop me? They'll tell you why they stopped you. If it was running a red light, if it was speeding, if it was a busted tail light, if it was a tow hitch in the middle of an actual license plate. When I was in Michigan in law school, I worked for an attorney, Mr. Oakes and Ed. And basically we worked on a case. I helped him with the appeal of that case in Michigan. And it actually got overturned, where police officers cannot use a pretext measure as a tow hitch is in the middle of your license plates as a pretext reason to stop you. They still do, of course. But basically all these reasons to stop you. So You get stopped, you pull over. What should you do? Give them your license, give them your registration. I keep it in my bag, in a little baggie. I don't have a baggie, but anyways, I keep it in a little baggie. Basically, he's going to run my information. He's going to go back to his car. I'm not going to make any sudden movements. I'm not going to drive off. I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause alarm to the officer. Now, what he's possibly going to do, depending if he's profiling or not, or if he's going to use an intimidation tactic, he's going to come back to the car after he goes to his car, and he's going to possibly come back, and it should be over, right? But most of the time it's not. They come back and they hand you your information and they say, where are you on your way to? Wait, officer, I'm finished with the, I'm finished. Is the police stop over? But it's not over. They're trying to gather information. Their whole job is to bring charges, is to find guilt, is to find tactics, that way they can enforce the law. But how they go about enforcing it, sometimes it's not okay. So they might say that they smell weed. I had a lot of questions on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of you guys are asking me questions about this. They're going to ask you, or they might say, I smell marijuana. Now, before I go too deep into the marijuana thing, you might want to check your specific laws, because Georgia is specific as it relates to whether or not it's burnt marijuana or whether or not it's raw marijuana. And listen, I'm not giving you guys a reason to only have burnt marijuana or raw marijuana in your car, but this comes down to a legal argument once I become your attorney. And basically, if they smell burnt marijuana compared to raw marijuana, that would give them a reason to search. They're going to say it's happened to me. I don't even smoke. I've never even been drunk. But that's what they do. They come back to the car and they say, they're handing me my license. I smell marijuana. No, you don't. The next question is, may I search your car? Search my car? No, no, sir. You cannot search my car. And my next answer to him would be, or my next question is going to be, am I free to leave? Because depending on whether or not this is going to turn into a search or if I'm being seized, I'm going to let him know that I know my rights. I'm not going to say I know my rights. I'm going to assert that. I'm going to assert that conversation, and I'm going to say, am I free to go? Because the traffic stop has ended. You've given me a ticket. You've given me everything that I need. So basically, am I free to go? He's going to say, can you step out the car? No, I'm not consenting to stepping out of the car. I'm not consenting to you searching my car. I'm not consenting to you bringing your dogs. I'm not consenting to any of that. Okay? Now, if you guys have any questions, I see questions are coming in. Go ahead and ask them.
Okay. So Lamont Taylor is asking, with Arizona being a right to bear arms state, can they automatically search your vehicle, even if you tell them you have it in the vehicle as they approach you?
Okay, so I'm getting a question from Arizona, my hometown, the other A. Hey, Arizona, shout out to Phoenix. Lamont Taylor is asking me, if you have a weapon in the car and you let them know that you have a weapon in the car, is that okay? If the weapon is legal, if the weapon is licensed, if the weapon fits certain parameters under Arizona law, then you're okay. You're not going to be reaching for any, gun. You're not going to be reaching saying, hey, officer, I have a gun. Let me let you. No, this is all about safety. This is about your protection. This is about what you're going to do. You're going to get your traffic ticket. You're going to leave. You're going to call me, and I'm going to fight the traffic ticket in court. But no, you should not. You should be okay when it comes to having a licensed, registered gun in the car. Don't reach for it in the car, of course, but you should be safe in regards to that. Any other questions? Okay, I'm getting another question. Is it a violation for me to only let my window down part way to give my license to the officer? Now, there's no case law that says you should let your window down this much, you should let it down that much, you should let it down this much. Oh, look, biceps going on right there. But no, there's no law, that I'm in knowledge of or understanding of that says that there's case law that says how far you should let your window down. Because when I'm pulled over, if it's a dark road in the desert of Arizona, or if it's a dark road in McDonough, Georgia, this has happened to me. 6 officers pulling up on me, asking me, where am I coming from at 3 a.m.? My mechanic's house? Can you let your window down? So I let it down slightly, and then I give him my license, my registration, and my insurance. If he says let it all the way down, depends on if he's ordering me. If he says I'm ordering you and there's guns drawn, of course I'm going to comply. I want you guys to be smart. All the deaths that are going on right now, we don't want you guys to die because you let your window down. They're going to use coercive measures and intimidation tactics, but your thing is always make sure that you know your rights. That's not illegal to let your window down. Pass it to them. All they're going to do is go back to the car, check whether or not your license, registration, and insurance is current, and then you're good. If they come back and say, let it down more, no, we're not doing that. Your Honor, officer, am I free to go? And then if he says yes, then, you can go ahead and leave. But a lot of them will ask you to let your window all the way down so they can say whether or not they smell weed or not. You can't claim you smell weed if the window is up. And that's my take on that.
Okay, Nisi on a mission, we want you to go ahead and submit the rest of your question. Only part of it came through. Thank you so much. And we have a question from PM_MattXH_. Can I be a lawyer with a felony record? You inspire me.
Aw, you inspire me too. It depends, because when you go to law school, as you guys know my story, you can follow me on @SheLawOffice on Twitter, @SheLawOffice, and on Facebook. You know my story. I'm one of the 90. The Georgia bar examiners mistakenly failed us. And I kept going. I kept pushing. I kept going. I kept taking that exam. But all through in law school, basically, there are things that arise. Before you go to law school, you have to apply. They look at everything. They look at things all the way back in your childhood, because they want to see if, as a lawyer, you can be looked at a certain way ethically. So they're going to examine your background when you apply. They're going to examine your background when you actually are in law school. It's called character and fitness. When I was in law school at Thomas Cooley Law School, it's now called Western Michigan and East Lansing, I had a couple of friends that would go drinking. They would smoke, things like that, and they would get tickets or they would get citations while we were in law school. When they applied, when they were finished with law school, to character and fitness, to that particular state that they wanted to practice in, they had to explain that. So I didn't have Facebook in law school. I didn't give anybody a reason to check me. I was always on the up and up ethically. So I would encourage you, if you're trying to be an attorney, you will have to go through applications. You will have to go through character and fitness. Just make sure that lines up when they background check you. So it depends. That answer, it depends. Do we have more questions?
Nisi on a mission is asking, what do you do if the officer says, I'll ask you one more time to step out of the car after you refuse? Do you have to step out if you don't consent?
Okay, so see that right there, I want to be very, very careful with that. The reason why I want to be careful with that is because we know right now there is a very, very bad issue when it comes to certain races, and whether or not the officer is using the same amount of force, or they're protecting and serving, or let's just be frank, they're killing off certain people because they're not complying when you get traffic stopped, or even when you get traffic stopped. We've heard it. You still might get shot. You still might get killed. So I don't want that to happen to you guys. The whole purpose of this information session is to make sure you know your rights. If they come up to you after having checked your license, your registration, and insurance, and you're free and you're clear, and they say you checked out to be okay, you don't have any warrants, the traffic stop should be over. But see, what they're probably going to do is say, step out the car. I smell marijuana. So make sure you're not smoking marijuana, right? But make sure that if it comes down to, are they ordering you to step out of the car, or are they asking you? Because this is what I want you guys to understand. They'll say certain things like this. Do you know why I stopped you? Do you have something to hide? Step out of the car. You need to cooperate. Step out of the car. We'll just get a warrant and search your car. Step out of the car. We have something, or we saw something in regards to you as you were driving. Step out of the car. I'm going to search your car for my safety. Okay, wait a second. But the traffic stop has ended. So if they're ordering you to step out of the car, though, because they have found drugs or they smell marijuana, then yes, step out of the car, comply. Because once you get home or once you go to jail because you have drugs or whatever, you're going to call me. You're going to call me. I'm going to file certain motions to suppress if that stop wasn't legal from the inception, from the get-go. So be safe, because you're going to call me in the end. Now, if they're asking you, though, to step out of the car, can you step out of the car? Can I search your car? Can I bring the dogs? Can you roll your window down? Can, right? Can is a question, okay? The answer is no. No, officer, you can't search my car. No, officer, I'm not. So think about whether or not they're ordering you. Think about your surroundings. Think about whether or not it's safe. Also, think about if it's a question. If it's a question, the answer is no.
You have a client, says, tell Ms. Ross her client, Anton, we won't say any last names, appreciates her service and will continue to pay Ms. Ross for her service.
Aw, thank you, Anton. You're the best. We have another question. Anton and his whole family. I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys soon. This question is, if I am pulled over in the dark, are there stipulations on me stipulations on me respectfully requesting to go to a well-lit spot? So this actually happened to me. And what I will say, I'm not pulling over in the country part of McDonough, Georgia. First of all, that's 45 minutes south of Atlanta, south of the city. No, sir. I'm not going to do that. So let me tell you something that I've done. And this is not legal advice, but just so you guys understand, it's too much going on right now in society and police officers. What I did, and it's actually kind of funny, I called 911. It was 4 officers pulling me over. I'm a girl, I'm an attorney. I don't have anything in the car. They pulled me over. But before they pulled me over, I actually called 911. It was dark. It's very dark in a wooded area. I called 911 while they're behind me, and I let 911 know, the year, the make, model of my car, and that they were pursuing me. I'm not eluding. They're not going to charge me with a high-speed chase. I wanted some record of that. I called 911. I let them know, hey, there's officers that are behind me. It's dark. I'm going the speed limit. It's under 30 miles an hour. I just want you guys to know so you could walkie-talkie, radio the officers that are behind me so they know that this is not going to turn into a LA West Coast high-speed chase, right? So they know. And yes, for your safety, you don't have to pull over in a wooded embankment in the country of Arizona or Georgia. Pull over where you feel it's safe. And if you have to, call 911 because those calls are being recorded. And a judge, if that case goes to court, a judge will look at that and they know that you're not, trying to elude or high-speed chase anybody. Any more questions?
You've got a question from MMMMDAV. Do you know what the law is or what my rights would be in Arizona if an officer is asking you to open your glove compartment and or trunk?
Okay, so what I will say is I'm going to be really safe when it comes to answering that question because I'm licensed in Georgia. My firm is licensed in Georgia, but don't worry, Arizona, I'm coming. I'm opening up a practice there soon. I'll stay on alert. It's coming soon. But what I will say is that Arizona v. Gantt, I want you guys to look up that case law. Amazing. Sorry about that. Amazing case law that comes out of Arizona. Arizona leads the way for case law. Other states do as well. But as you know, Arizona versus Miranda. You have constitutional protections. It's not constitutional if they don't, we won't get into that. But Your Miranda rights. That comes from Arizona. Arizona versus Miranda. There's another case law that comes out of Arizona. It's called Arizona v. Gant. But it applies to all states. It's just that the case happened in Arizona. The Supreme Court, basically, they said something, and don't quote me, please, that, okay, it depends on, so let me make sure that I'm really careful. If I get pulled over for a traffic stop and the officer claims he smells marijuana, now there are exceptions to the warrant exception. An officer always needs a warrant, but if you consent, he can search your car. There's also what's called the automobile exception, right? If he feels that there are crimes or instrumentalities in that car, or that car is committing a crime, or there's illegal activity in that car, let's say bricks or marijuana, now he can ask you to step out of the car. He can arrest you and he can search your car. He doesn't need a warrant. That's called an exception to the warrant. Now, if let's say, for an example, the officer is looking for a stolen bike, right? He cannot go searching the glove compartment. He has to look for what it is that he feels that the crime is being committed in that car and what he's going in to look for. Now, if he's looking for marijuana, if he's looking for certain articles, maybe certain little things, yeah, there's possibility that he could search the trunk, search the middle console, search you, pat down. It's limitations to that. Terry, it's limitations to that. But no. If it comes to be that stop was unreasonable, it's very pivotal that you hire a very good attorney, because that's when I would file motions to suppress, because the stop was unreasonable. The search was unreasonable. Why are you searching underneath the tires? Why are you bringing a dog? It's certain things when we get into the idea of searching, whether or not that search was unreasonable. I hope that answers your question. It's very detailed when it comes to the law, but I want you guys to look up Arizona v. Gant, G-A-N-T, and Arizona v. Miranda.
All right, awesome. We've got another question from Malik or Malik KJ.O. If you're riding with your friend who possesses marijuana without your knowledge and gets pulled over by the police, what should you do at that point?
Hey Malik, thank you. That's a very good question. Okay, so I can't see the questions. My team is actually reading the questions to me, but it depends. Where are you located? Are you in the back seat? I'm going to keep talking to you. Answer the question. Where are you at in the car? I'm going to be specific. I'm going to hone it down for you. You have a friend driving, right, in the driver's seat, and you're in the passenger seat. Are you in the back seat passenger, or are you in the back seat driver? Well, I'll just answer the question. If you can't, it's totally fine. So it's very rare that when you get in a car...
Assuming that he's in the front passenger seat. Okay,
so you're in the front passenger seat. Your friend picks you up. You're going to Blue Flame, right? Or you're coming from Blue Flame. Or in Arizona, another club in Arizona. You're coming from the Scottsdale area. Shout out to Arizona State. I went to Arizona State. But anyway, so you're in the passenger seat. Your friend picks you up, or you guys are going home. I don't know what's in my friend's truck. I don't know what's in his trunk. I don't know what's in his glove compartment. It's unreasonable for me to go searching around in the car, right? I have several cases like that right now where the driver, the rent-a-car was in his name. The rent-a-car was all the paperwork, registration, everything relates to that driver. I have another case right now where the drugs were in the trunk, or the drugs were in a dog bag in the back seat. Of course you don't know. But let me explain something to you. Sometimes I know the type of friends that I have, and the cousins that I have, and the associates I have. If you don't ask, and a situation occurs where the officer comes up and says, I smell marijuana. Now he has all of you guys out. He's searching you guys. Best believe when you call me, if that's the situation, I'm going to make sure that I file certain motions to suppress. You don't know, by mere knowledge of you being in the car, you did not consent and you're not involved in a crime. So that would be my argument to the judge. Like, Judge, Malik was in the passenger seat. He did not know. He didn't conspire. He wasn't an accessory to picking up these drugs. He had no knowledge of that. So yes, that happens a lot. But you also, again, want to make sure you have a good attorney that knows certain motions to file to make sure that you get out of jail if that's the situation. Let me explain something to you. Your battle is not on the streets, right? The streets are already battling themselves. The cops are battling in the streets. If that happens to you, you call me, 855-5-SHE-LAW. And I'm going to make sure that the judge knows that your involvement was not, you didn't conspire to that. You did not know. You didn't have mere knowledge of that. And I'll make sure that works out for you.
Okay. Hollywood Excel asks, if an officer has abused the law or his authority, how do you go about reporting that?
Okay, so first I would say officers, I'm just going to be honest, officers are the same laws that they are told to uphold, right? They didn't go to law school. They didn't go to law school. They don't have a legal education. I wouldn't say all of them, excuse me. I don't need any officers calling me the majors I know and all the people I know. Most of them didn't go to law school, so they don't know the law. So basically, I would say that you would need a good attorney like me, excuse me, in God's name, in Jesus' name, right? To look at certain things. I'm going to request reports. I'm going to request how many times that officer has pulled certain people over. I'm going to request if it's public information. If not, I'm going to file certain things with the police department or I've gone about sometimes getting certain things on certain officers so I can let the judge know, Judge, he has a habit of only pulling over certain races. Judge, he has a habit of certain complaints. He does this all the time, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to show that this officer has not only used unlawful force, but use this as a way to, I would say, get away with misusing the law. And again, I would say, don't fight with him on the streets. Call me. And I'm going to request certain information in regards to filing the complaint or going about the proper channels in the police department to get to his supervisor, the head. That's something that I would do. And I've done that several times. And if that's the situation, yes, call me, because I know a couple of majors and different people, and I can make sure that complaint gets filed. Because what we want to do, we want to make sure that our officers are protecting us, right? Not abusing us and hurting us and hindering us. So that's something that I would make sure that happens.
Okay, we've got a question, another question from Nisi on a mission. If you purchase a car with tinted windows and you were stopped by officers initially because they noticed the tint was too dark at night, but ultimately after their search they find a couple of pills.
What you got pills in your car for? Zans? What you got? But anyways, no, I'm just joking. So thank you, Nisi. 90, number 9. Sorry, I don't know the numbers. But basically, okay, so there's case law with that too. You guys know my story. I took the bar so many times because they kept telling me I failed. I have all these laws still in my head. That's the advantage, right? So there's certain case law that says basically, if you are pulled over and your license plate is from another state. So for an example, if you are in Georgia and your license plate says New Mexico, or your license plate says New York, and you're pulled over in Georgia, right? And your license plate, your title, your registration, your insurance is from another state, and you're pulled over in Georgia. No, you cannot get arrested for that. And that would be something that I will be filing in court, because basically the police officer didn't know the law, right? They don't know the law. So there's case law that says that if you're pulled over and your license plate is another state, that officer doesn't know the rules and regulations for the tint in another state. So basically, that would be something that an attorney would do, is file motions to suppress, because if that initial stop wasn't valid, the searching and the seizures and whatever they find after that could possibly be unreasonable and invalid as well. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Next question.
Okay, Joseph Colbert asks, my nephew is a minor and was taken to adult jail for questioning and was fingerprinted. Is that legal?
Okay, I want to make sure I understand your question, Joseph. So your nephew who is underage, was he pulled over in a car? When you say he was fingerprinted, what was the scenario? What was the situation? And Joseph, go ahead and just further give me more details. I will answer another question. I won't forget about you, Joseph. Don't worry. Go in depth in regards to how he was fingerprinted, where he was picked up at, what was the scenario? Was he by himself? Was he driving? I need more details, okay? So the next question is there a difference between resisting and not cooperating? Yes, there is a difference. If an officer tells me and he has guns telling me, because like I said, this happened to me. I was my first year here in Georgia. I moved here in 2013. I'm coming from my mechanic's house at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm really coming from my mechanic's house, not the trap house, right? They must have thought I was coming from the trap. I don't know. I look like a trap queen, right? Anyway, so I'm pulled over, and they tell me to get out the car. Get out the car? No, I'm not going to get out the car, officer. So in regards to cooperating, I don't feel that it's safe for me to get out the car. He's asking me a question, though. I'm listening to the phrasing because they like to play games with words. So no, I'm not going to get out the car at 3 a.m. I'm a female. Let me tell you, I had my dad, shout out to my mom and dad in Phoenix, Arizona. I had my dad on one phone, the head of the house, right? All men. And then I had the police 911 on the other phone, right? Because if it's going to go down, it's going to go down. I'm not going to play games with this. So yes, I'm willing to cooperate. Yes, I'm willing to do whatever you ask me to do if it's safe. You are not going to shoot me in McDonough, okay? But if you're asking me to step out of the car, no, I'm not. Am I free to go? Are you now detaining me? Am I free to leave? And then if I'm resisting, let's say if they would have found marijuana in my car, they're not going to find marijuana in my car. They're going to find some motions to suppress for my clients. But basically, if they're asking me after they smell marijuana, after they see drugs, after they smell drugs, for me to step out the car, now they have a right to arrest me. Don't resist. Get out the car. And you know what you're going to do when you get to jail? You're going to call me. You know I do bonds, right, Anton? I do bonds. I'll get you out. Don't worry. So yes, there's a difference between cooperating and resisting. Joseph, do you have the other part of the question about your nephew?
He said that someone in the family will contact you.
Okay, yeah, have him contact me. 855-5-SHELAW, and one of my team members or my staff will give me the message, and I'll remember you, and I'll have them send you right through. So don't worry, I'll remember that you asked me that, okay?
Okay, Aquinas Elam just says, can you represent me? I need counsel.
Hi, Aquinas! Aww. You don't need any counsel. You're like my big sister, but thank you. Of course. You've always supported me. Wait, what do you need counsel for? I know it's not your son. No, and I know it's not you, but no, I appreciate your support. You're so funny. Okay, so here's a question. So basically, this is something that the cops will do because they'll use words. They'll try to flip up the words, and you're nervous, you're on the spot, you're confused. So basically, they'll say, do you know why I stopped you? So let me read something to you. Cops ask this not because they want to have a friendly chat. Think about it. It's not, hey, do you know why I stopped you? No. So they're asking you this because they want you to incriminate yourself. They're hoping that you voluntarily confess to have broken the law, whether it was something they had already noticed or not. So think about this. They're pulling you over for a traffic stop, a busted tail light, running a stop sign. He comes up to your car and says, hey, do you know why I stopped you? And I don't understand this because most of my clients do this. Yeah, is it because the bricks in the car? Yeah, is it because the marijuana? Yeah, is it because the stolen car I'm actually in? No, you're not going to give them information, although these things are wrong. We will have a conversation about that. Best believe. But no, you don't want to give them information. Answer the question that they're asking you. You may think you're apologizing or explaining or even making excuses, but from the cop's perspective, you are confessing. He is not there to serve you. He is there fishing for an excuse to fine or arrest you. In asking you a familiar question, he is essentially asking you what crime you just committed. And he will do this without giving you any Miranda versus Arizona warnings. So that way you could testify on the scene about yourself. So shut your mouth and just answer the question. No, I don't know why you stopped me. Okay, it was because you ran a red light. Okay, would you like my driver's license, insurance, and registration? Yes, step out the car. Okay, no, here's my driver's license, registration, and insurance. I'll wait for you to run that. Okay? So we have another question. So I have some other facts I want you guys to know. I want you guys to ask one more question. Oh, I want to tell you this. Also, cops will also ask you, do you have something to hide? Step out the vehicle so I can search the vehicle. I'm going to go get my dogs. What? This was a traffic stop. No, I don't have anything to hide. Stay on the point. Would you like my license, my registration, and my insurance? Okay? So police officers often talk as if you need a good reason for not answering whatever questions they ask, or for not consenting to a warrantless search, because remember I said that you're in an automobile. Automobiles carry certain warrant exceptions. They don't need a certain warrant if you're committing a crime in your automobile. So basically, the ridiculous implication is that if you haven't committed a crime, you should be happy to subject yourself to random interrogation and searches. I'm not going to sit there and have a conversation with the police, because you know what's interesting? When I get the police report, everything you guys said, confessed to, consented to, is in the police report. It will be used against you. So shut your mouth, only talk about the traffic stop, comply, but don't consent. Do you guys have any other questions?
We got two more questions. Malik asks, the question may be off the topic, but I've got a law degree from Gambia and I'm not licensed to practice law in the United States. I drafted a contractual agreement for the sale of real property. What is the legal implication under American law?
Hey Malik, I don't really know. Are you referring to Gambia in another country?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Because there's certain restrictions on when you come from another country to practice law. There's even certain restrictions if I go to another state to practice law. The test you have to take, the 2-day test, the 3-day test, is certain things. So I'm going to hold off on that question. And what I will do is, if you're licensed to practice, contact the Georgia bar or the state that you're trying to move to and ask them that, because they'll give you step-by-step procedurally what you need to do. We would love to have some more attorneys. You sound like an educated guy.
Okay. Lamont Taylor asks, what is the best advice to give my young kings in the case that they ever come in contact with the police without me?
Okay, first of all, I would say you guys always want to memorize this number, because one thing I do is advise on-site police traffic stops, right? So if it's an easy number, 855-5. It's 3 5s. 855-5 she law. We do on-site police stops, okay? So, but let's say if your children or you can't remember that number and they're not with you, you being an awesome dad, Lamont. Let's say they're nervous. They don't know what to do. I would tell you to tell your kids to comply. Pull over. Be nice. Officer, if he says, get out the car. If he's being rude, if he's ordering you, I would tell your children to comply. We don't need any more violent attacks or any more people getting killed during a traffic stop. This is getting out of hand all across the world. So tell your children to comply, because you know what? The day will be in court. Let's get this off the streets. Let's get this into the hands of an attorney. They might not remember, but the one thing that they should remember is to comply, right? Don't fight with the officer on the streets. And then contact me, and I will be there, and I will make sure that everything goes smoothly. Motions are filed, that they had reason to pull them over, and nothing was unreasonable under the Fourth Amendment. So I would hope that that answers all you guys' questions. And if you guys have any other questions, I'm here. Basically, I appreciate all the support, all you guys following me, all you guys answering questions. God is so good. This is just so amazing. Give me more topics that you guys want me to talk about. Inbox me. I have people who are constantly monitoring that, asking me questions. One thing that I want to make sure that I do, no matter how big I get, I remember where I come from. You know, South Phoenix area, my mom, Hubert Ross, Diane Ross, and I remember where I am now. And one thing that I try not to do and I won't do is disregard who you are. Is put you off because now I'm a big attorney, or I'm on my way. Excuse me, not yet, right? But I want to make sure that I always speak to you. So if you call me, I don't care how many levels it takes for you to get to me, I will make sure that I talk to each of you personally. Like I said, the number again is 855-5-SHE-LAW on Instagram and Twitter. It's at She Law Office. And if you, my website, www.shelawfirm.com. You're probably wondering why I use the she a lot, right? So it's She Law Firm. And for me, it's not about the law firm. It's not about being an attorney. It's about what she can do for you. You know, is Shequel your attorney? So she will fight for you. She will defend you. She will protect you. Is Shequel your attorney? And I want to thank you guys so much. All the support, everything that Arizona, other states, Georgia, shout out to Michigan, everybody who's just been following me and asking me questions. And I want you guys to stay tuned. We have some really good things up and coming. I hear you guys and I listen and I give it back to you. So continue to bring the feedback in and everything that you're doing. Stay tuned for my next live broadcast, and I will talk to you guys soon. You know my trademark bye, right? Bye!